I reborn at 17. The instant I snapped my eyes open, that arrogant academic heartthrob I'd been secretly obsessing over sneered right in my face. Emily, don't even think that pulling off some pathetic weak girl act is gonna make me fall for you. Without missing a beat, I fired back. Who the fuck do you think you are? Scram the hell out of here. Guys like you? They're nothing but dead weight dragging down my lightning-fast problem-solving skills. End of teaser. Now, buckle up and dive into this wild story. I'm calling in the god of fortune to rain down epic luck on everyone who drops a heart, leaves a comment on this post, and tags their crew to join the fun and snag those sweet perks together. These last few years, the crackdown on after-school tutoring centers has been brutal as hell, regulations tightening like a noose, forcing countless spots to shut down under the pressure. Hell, even me, a former gold medal-winning math competition tutor with years of grinding through equations, couldn't dodge the bullet. I got hit with unemployment, plain and simple. To keep my head above water and pay the bills, I had no choice but to scramble for whatever part-time gigs I could snag. But after pulling 3 grueling all-nighters in a row, exhaustion hit me like a freight train while I was behind the wheel. In that foggy, half-asleep haze, everything blurred, then bam, I swear I heard this deafening explosion ripping through the air, followed by an inferno swallowing me whole, flames licking at my skin. My skull was pounding, splitting with agony. Slowly, painfully, I forced my eyelids apart. Hey there, classmate, you're finally awake? This cute little nurse in a crisp white coat flashed me a relieved grin. Anywhere else hurting, sweetie? Feeling off at all? Out of pure reflex, I shook my head no. Crash. The door flew open with a violent slam that made both me and the nurse jump out of our skins. We whipped our heads toward the noise. Emily, what the actual fuck is your game here? Beneath that chiseled, glowing handsome face of his was a boiling rage he couldn't hide if he tried. In that split second, a flood of long-buried memories surged back to life, crashing over me like a tidal wave. The very next moment, I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing, full-throated and triumphant. Holy shit, thank you, universe. Emily, you better clear this bullshit up right now. I didn't lay a finger on you, you collapsed all on your damn own. Alex Thompson's face twisted with that same old impatient scowl, identical to the one from my past life, like a ghost haunting me. You're still trying to deny it? Emily was perfectly fine this morning, but after exchanging just a few words with you, she drops like a stone? That voice. Oh God, it was Sarah Jenkins, my ride-or-die bestie. I fought back the hot tears welling up, forcing a smile her way. Sarah, he's telling the truth. I really did just faint out of nowhere. Emily, stop shielding that asshole. Sarah's eyes were puffy and red, brimming with unshed tears. That's it, enough of this crap. Alex's expression turned downright nasty, dark as a storm cloud. Emily, if you seriously believe staging this dramatic bullshit is gonna trick me into liking you. I locked eyes with the seething Alex, feeling a wave of utter disbelief at my former self. How could I have been so blind? What the hell had I ever seen in this prick back then? Alright, fine, Alex. Today's whole fiasco? Totally my bad. I apologize for the hassle. But do me a favor and quit flattering yourself, okay? It's not a good look. Alex's face went pitch black with fury. He parted his lips like he was about to unleash hell, but instead, he clamped his mouth shut and stormed out without another word. Honestly, though, I couldn't give less of a damn about him anymore. My gaze shifted to Sarah, the one person who'd always had my back, my truest friend through thick and thin. In those days, we were convinced our bond was unbreakable, eternal, like nothing could touch it. Who could have predicted that after high school wrapped up, we'd drift apart completely, never crossing paths again? Years later, I'd catch wind from old classmates that she'd been struggling hard without a solid degree, bouncing from dead-end job to dead-end job, her life a constant uphill battle of hardship and frustration. Overwhelmed by the rush of emotions, I threw my arms around her in a fierce hug. Sarah, I've missed you so goddamn much it hurts. Emily, what the hell's gotten into you? Sarah pulled back slightly, eyeing me with concern. You seem totally different somehow. I swallowed hard against the lump in my throat, making a silent, ironclad vow to myself. This second chance at life? I'm not wasting it. I'll grind like hell alongside Sarah, turning things around for both of us. I plastered on my brightest, most genuine smile. Sarah, I've finally seen the light. I'm over Alex Thompson for good, no more wasting my time. Sarah stared blankly for a beat, then her face lit up as she burst into laughter. Yes. About damn time. Our Emily's got admirers lining up around the block. Why the hell fixate on that warped, egotistical jerk? Because I'd passed out cold during our break period and Sarah had hauled me straight to the infirmary. By the time we hustled back to the classroom, the math lesson was already deep into the second half. I rapped on the door and stepped inside, but just as I was about to slide into my seat, the math teacher barked at us. Emily Harper, Sarah Jenkins, get the hell out. That voice, so damn familiar, sent a surge of pure hatred through me, making my teeth grind together in rage. The truth? I'd never actually despised learning itself back in the day. In fact, my grades had been decent enough, not top-tier genius level, but solidly average, nothing to be ashamed of. No, the real poison had come from Mr. Blackwood, our homeroom teacher who doubled as our math instructor. The man was a walking embodiment of opportunism and sleaze, sugary sweet and accommodating only to the straight-up prodigies or the kids from loaded families with deep pockets. But for the rest of us, the everyday students from middle-class backgrounds with middling scores, he treated us like dirt, dishing out verbal abuse left and right, humiliating us without a second thought. In my previous life, his relentless bullying had worn me down to the bone, twisting my attitude until I hated school altogether, to the point where I couldn't even scrape together enough motivation to pass the entrance exams for a basic community college. But this time around? Oh, hell no, he wasn't getting away with his toxic bullshit anymore. I'd make damn sure he paid for every ounce of pain he'd inflicted. Lifting my chin defiantly, I stared him dead in the eyes. Why the hell are you kicking us out? Mr. Blackwood froze in place, his face a mask of shock, as if the idea of meek, push over me from before daring to challenge him was utterly inconceivable. Whack! With a sharp crack, he hurled his lesson plan onto the podium, his voice dropping to an icy snarl. You two showed up late. Now get out, now. Sarah grabbed my arm, tugging urgently while whispering for me to just comply and leave before things escalated. If this had been the old me from my past life, I'd have been shaking like a leaf, terrified out of my mind. But the new me? I wasn't backing down an inch. According to education laws, attending class is our fundamental right as students. Are you really willing to trample all over our right to an education like that? Mr. Blackwood stood there, utterly dumbfounded, but of course, a snake like him wouldn't admit defeat that easily. Out, you say? Attending class is your right, is it? He let out a cold, mocking laugh. All right then, class, let's all witness just how effective this so-called right to education is for Miss Harper here, shall we? Come exam time, we'll see. Pointing to a scribbled problem in the corner of the blackboard, he commanded. Emily, I already explained that exercise earlier, get up here and solve it. This was vintage Mr. Blackwood. When one dirty trick flopped, he seamlessly pivoted to the next. Couldn't boot us out? Fine, he'd settle for publicly shredding my dignity in front of the entire class instead. But this round, his petty scheme was about to crash and burn spectacularly. I strolled up to the board with total confidence. The problem was a straightforward trigonometry puzzle, nothing fancy. For someone like me, armed with years of hardcore tutoring experience from my past life, it was child's play. I clocked the answer in a single glance. I scrawled it boldly, equals 2. And yeah, I deliberately left out every single step of the work, just to bait him. Right on cue, Mr. Blackwood let out a derisive huff. Some students really need to take a long, hard look in the mirror. Relying on rote memorization of answers, do you honestly think the college entrance exams are going to spoon-feed you the exact same problems? I flashed him a sly, knowing smile. With all due respect, sir, this one's just way too basic for me. No point wasting time on steps when the solution's obvious. Mr. Blackwood was convinced I was all bluff and no substance. After all, he knew the old me couldn't have touched this with a 10-foot pole. You're listening to the Three Little Frogs channel. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. But oh, Mr. Blackwood, from the precise moment I woke up in this reborn body, your days of smug certainty were numbered, doomed to crumble. I snatched up the chalk and went to town, my hand flying across the board with practiced ease. When I finally set it down, the classroom erupted in a low buzz of whispers and gasps. And why not? I'd laid out not one, but two full solutions. The first was the standard, by-the-book method everyone expected. The second? A slick, ultra-efficient shortcut I'd picked up from my elite competition coach in what would have been over a decade from now. That's how I'd nailed the answer at first sight. Peeking down from the board, I caught sight of those high and mighty top students, who'd always looked down their noses at me, frantically scribbling away, desperate not to miss a single detail. Turning back to Mr. Blackwood, I asked politely but firmly, "Sir, may I return to my seat now?" A flicker of raw hatred sparked in his eyes, impossible to miss. He gave a curt nod. "Excellent work, Miss Harper. You may sit." Deep down, I knew I'd just painted a massive target on my back, declared war, essentially. In the days ahead, he'd come gunning for me with everything he had, no holds barred. But you know what? Bring it on. I had zero intention of showing him mercy either. Just wait and see. As long as I'm breathing in this school, he'll never get another chance to crush a single student's spirit. Class dismissed, and Sarah bolted over, latching onto me and dragging me off to the bathroom like old times. Back in high school, we were glued at the hip, just like every other pair of inseparable girlfriends, couldn't even handle a quick pee without company. Who could have foreseen that girls like us, so tight-knit, would end up on such wildly different trajectories after the college entrance exams? I let out a heavy sigh, laced with deep regret, and silently renewed my vow. This do-over? I'm making damn sure our friendship stands the test of time, unbreakable forever. Sarah yanked me out of my brooding with a playful flick to my forehead. Hey, Emily Harper, my perky best friend reached up, ruffling my hair with a grin. Did you get hit with some kind of mutation ray or what? I batted her hand away, rolling my eyes. You're the mutant here. Sarah tilted her head, scrutinizing me with suspicion. Then explain how you suddenly turned into this total badass out of nowhere. Well, because I trailed off, fumbling for words, my mind racing on how to spill the beans without sounding insane. Would she even believe me if I dropped the rebirth bombshell? Right as I was waffling, 3 girls sauntered up, blocking our path in front of me and Sarah. Sarah shot me a quick glance before addressing them. You guys need something? The ringleader completely blew her off, zeroing in on me with a haughty stare. You're Emily, aren't you? I racked my brain, but drew a total blank. No recollection of this chick whatsoever. Yeah, that's me. What's the deal? She gave me a once-over, her lip curling in disdain. Word of advice, save your energy. Alex already confessed his feelings to me. Wait a damn minute. It clicked, she was the one. Alex's girlfriend, the undisputed campus bombshell, Olivia Reed. Olivia was the ultimate fantasy for half the guys in school. Not just drop-dead gorgeous, but sharp as a tack academically too. She might not have locked down a consistent top 10 spot like Alex, but her grades were rock solid, holding steady in the top 50 of our entire grade without fail. In the end, she and Alex both nailed spots at the same prestigious university in the big city. In my past life, they'd only made it official after the entrance exams wrapped up. Our classmates had hyped them as the ultimate, golden couple, all talent and beauty rolled into one. That crap had wrecked me back then, leaving me wallowing in self-pity and inferiority for way too long. So, they'd been sneaking around this early all along? Damn it, Emily, you were playing the fool the whole time. But, flashing back to Olivia's ultimate downfall in my previous timeline, I couldn't help but warn her. Hey, classmate, I've been over Alex for ages now. And honestly, do yourself a favor and wise up, don't go digging for boyfriends in the dumpster. Sigh, girls deep in the throes of love are blind as bats. Fingers crossed she'd actually heed my words. But nope, my well-meaning advice just lit a fuse, sending her into full rage mode. Emily, who the fuck do you think you are to talk to me like that? She jabbed an accusatory finger right at my chest. Day after day, hovering around Alex like some annoying fly, getting shot down, and now you're resorting to slander out of spite? Son of a bitch. Advice wasted on deaf ears. The crowd of onlookers swelled by the second. I had zero interest in wasting breath bickering. Hell, I'd rather use that time drilling Sarah on a few math problems. But Olivia and her little entourage weren't about to let me slip away that easily. One of her sidekicks piped up with a sneer. Olivia, ignore her. Some bitches just turn bitter when they can't snag the prize, claiming the grapes are sour. The other one jumped in, piling on, totally, sis. Don't let this nobody get under your skin, she's not worth the dirt on your shoes. Olivia thrust her chin up arrogantly, glaring daggers. Emily, you should seriously take a good, long look in the mirror sometime. What exactly makes you think you're even remotely worthy of someone like Alex? The murmurs from the growing mob hit like slaps. Wait, Emily's crushing on Alex? She's out of her goddamn mind. No kidding, crappy grades, average as hell looks. What makes her think she's got a shot? Hold up, though, she did nail that math problem in class earlier, right? Peeved, pure fluke, blind squirrel finds a nut sometimes. Nah, we all know her real level. Daring to challenge the queen? What a joke, worthy? As if. She's a toad dreaming of swan meat. Sarah tugged at my sleeve. Emily, screw what they're saying. Let's just bail. Bail now? And let this pack of hyenas bury us under their venomous gossip? Hell no. I drew in a deep, steadying breath and threw down the gauntlet. Olivia Reed, you got the guts to back up your talk with a real competition? Olivia burst out laughing, like I just told the world's dumbest joke. Compete? With you? On what, exactly? Our end-of-semester exam scores, straight up. The words were barely out before the crowd exploded in shocked exclamations. Did you catch that? Emily's throwing down against Olivia on grades. She's lost her freaking mind. Olivia obviously shared their sentiment, her eyes wide with disbelief. You're serious about this? Dead serious. Fine. If you lose, you march your ass to the school gate and apologize to me in front of everyone. One of her minions freaked out. Olivia, no way. You can't possibly apologize to her. Olivia waved her off with a smug grin. Deal. But if you crash and burn, you hit the school field and scream at the top of your lungs 10 times. I'm a pathetic, delusional lovesick bitch. Damn, this girl was ruthless as hell. Here I was, trying to pull her out of the fire by warning her off that scumbag, and this is the thanks I get. I shouted back, voice booming, you're on. Our high-stakes bet spread through the grade like a virus, everyone chattering non-stop. Of course, not a soul was betting on me to pull it off. Truth be told, even I wasn't overflowing with confidence. Yeah, I'd racked up a ton of tutoring expertise in my past life, but that was strictly math-focused. As science track students, our exams covered a brutal 6 subjects: math, physics, chemistry, biology, literature, and English. With only 3 months on the clock, was that really enough time to turn the tide? But I knew deep down that showing any sign of weakness right now would torpedo every plan I had brewing for the future. So, failure wasn't an option. I had to win this, no matter what. At the very least, I'd pour every last drop of effort into it. The morning wrapped up with literature class, which had always been my Achilles heel. Can't pin it all on me, though. The teacher was this ancient old-timer who'd spent decades in the game, delivering lectures in a flat, monotonous drone that could put anyone to sleep. In other subjects, even if I zoned out, I'd at least pass notes back and forth with Sarah or doodle aimlessly on scrap paper to stay semi-engaged. But lit? Forget it. I'd conk out almost every time. This go around, though, I came prepared like a pro. Before the bell even rang, I'd chugged an entire bottle of strong black coffee to keep the drowsiness at bay. Today's lesson picked up where last week's exam review left off, diving straight into ancient prose. The old man stuck to his predictable routine, just like in my past life, methodically translating the entire classical text word for word, instructing us to jot down any unfamiliar terms or phrases. For some reason, as his voice droned on, my thoughts wandered far and wide, pulling me into a deep reverie. I flashed back to those days. In my previous timeline, we'd all jokingly dubbed him the old fossil behind his back. Sure, he was strict as hell, but underneath it all, he was a genuinely dedicated teacher who cared about his students. Later on, though, he couldn't stomach the shady underhanded tactics from some of the faculty, so he raised hell with the administration. The result? At his advanced age, they forced him into early retirement against his will. He never spilled the full details to us kids, just brushed it off with a, "Don't worry about it," whenever we pried. Could Mr. Blackwood have had a hand in that dirty business? Miss Harper? Snap. I jolted back to reality, realizing the old fossil was standing right in front of my desk. He furrowed his brows. "Emily, it's a miracle you're not nodding off for once, but now you're off in La La Land instead." I shot to my feet. "Sorry, sir. It won't happen again. I promise to pay full attention from here on out." He gave a slight, approving nod. "Recognizing your mistake and committing to fix it? That's the best anyone can do." I sank back into my seat and locked in, absorbing every word with laser focus. Maybe it was my imagination, but I swear he kept glancing my way throughout the lesson, like my sudden alertness had thrown him for a loop. It dawned on me, he'd probably gotten used to me snoozing through his classes, and this change-up caught him off guard. A warm glow spread through my chest, mixed with a sharp pang of regret. All this time, he'd been quietly looking out for me, and what did I do? I let other people's crap drag me down, self-sabotaging my own future by refusing to learn. "Miss Harper, you've selected the correct option for this ancient poem. Come up and walk the class through your reasoning." The right answer was D, but the question was tricky. It asked for the incorrect statement. Option D claimed, "This poem, when compared to Lu Yu's touring the Western Village, from the Northern Song Dynasty." Sir, Lu Yu was actually from the Southern Song Dynasty. The old fossil nodded appreciatively. "Spot on, Miss Harper. But there's another flaw in that option, the emotional tone of the poem itself." A rush of emotion hit me hard. It had been forever since a teacher had singled me out for praise like that. My drive to study skyrocketed, fueling me like rocket fuel. As soon as the bell rang, I bolted out of the classroom, chasing after the old fossil down the hall. He turned, looking puzzled. "Miss Harper, is there something you need?" "Sir, I was wondering, how can I really turn my literature grades around and improve?" He seemed genuinely taken aback at first, but then his expression softened as he replied, "Literature is all about steady accumulation over time. You need to listen attentively, memorize diligently, and of course, practice relentlessly with exercises." Up close, his stern facade remained, but his eyes held a gentle kindness I'd completely overlooked in my past life. Stepping out of his office, I found Sarah waiting right outside the door. "Emily, you seriously seem like a whole new person now." Her wide, doe-like eyes brimmed with curiosity and a touch of doubt. "Damn straight," I shot back, my face breaking into a confident, ear-to-ear grin. "Your girl's got a fresh start on life, rebooted and ready to crush it." It had been ages since I'd chowed down in the school cafeteria, surrounded by that familiar buzz. Staring at my all-time favorite, steamed pork ribs with rice flour, alongside my absolute best friend. Man, moments like this were pure, unadulterated happiness. But like clockwork, that bliss got interrupted by an unwanted intruder crashing the party. Gazing up at the school's notorious badass, Jake Donovan, I felt a massive headache brewing. Was this some kind of butterfly effect from my rebirth? In my past life, our paths never crossed, not even once, so why the hell were all these unrelated characters suddenly popping into my orbit left and right? Jake fixed his stare on me. Emily, rumor has it you're going head-to-head with Olivia on grades? Ah, shit, now I remembered. This guy was one of her hardcore fanboys, obsessed to the core. That explained why she'd come gunning for me earlier. Jake, this is strictly between me and her, none of your business. I flashed him my sweetest, most saccharine smile. What came out of his mouth next nearly made me choke on my own tongue. Emily, go for it, you got this. Jake beamed, his eyes squinting with a genuine grin. What the? Totally not the vibe I'd anticipated. Even though we had zero history in my previous go-around, his representative as the ultimate school thug was legendary, flunking every subject under the sun, but reigning supreme in chaos and fights. Had his crush on Olivia escalated to full-blown terminal obsession? As he walked away, I mentally tipped my hat in respect. The afternoon classes still had plenty of spots where I drew blanks, knowledge gaps glaring, but my motivation didn't waver. In fact, it burned hotter than ever. Midway through, it hit me. We're in the first semester of junior year, with the real college prep crunch kicking off in the second. Jackpot. That meant this term was all fresh material, no backlog from prior years. So, all I needed was to catch up on the last month's worth of lessons I'd missed in my fog. In my head, I mapped out a killer study plan on the fly. First off, math was my undisputed stronghold. I was cocky enough to bet I could score near perfect or full marks without breaking a sweat. Second, the trio of physics, chemistry, and biology rolled out new content every semester, so I could dive in from square one without legacy baggage. Third, the real hurdles were literature and English, both demanding long-term build-up of vocab, reading, and analysis. Those would take extra grit. My strategy? Lean heavy on my strengths in math, phys, chem, and bio to offset the weaknesses in the humanities, bridging the gap step by step. Lifting my gaze, I caught Sarah's worried eyes locked on me, full of concern. It warmed my heart but also cracked me up inside. Was I really that much of a mess before? Basic good student habits like staying awake in class now flagged me as not feeling well. Shaking my head with a chuckle, I turned to her. Sarah, I've been doing a ton of soul-searching lately. We need to buckle down and study our asses off. Sarah's eyes bugged out as she slapped a hand to my forehead, checking for fever, then pulled back relieved. No temp. Is this all because of that bet with Olivia? I cut through her rambling. I'm dead serious here. I slacked off because I couldn't stand Blackwood. But what about you? I was always the one dragging you into skipping and goofing around. The guilt hit harder as I reflected. It was all on me, constantly tempting Sarah to play hooky. Without my bad influence, maybe she wouldn't have ended up scraping by in dead-end jobs. Lifting my head high, I met her eyes with unwavering resolve. Sarah, our futures are in our own hands. We've got to nail spots at top universities, no excuses. Sarah went still for a long moment, processing, then locked eyes with me and broke into a sweet, radiant smile. All right, let's do this. But that grin faded fast when I yanked out a stack of her old quizzes and workbooks from her desk. Pointing to a dismal 37-point math test, I said, Sarah, redo this one from scratch. Flag the problems you get stuck on, and I'll walk you through them. Her face twisted in a grimace. Once she realized I wasn't kidding, she let out a resigned groan. Yes, ma'am, on it. Watching her dive in, a wave of relief washed over me. Sarah, in this life, we're both going to soar. Live it up to the fullest. I jumped into my own grind, reviewing the day's lessons before tackling homework. The daily assignments were topic-specific, not tied to the bits I'd missed, so I powered through physics, chemistry, and biology in no time flat. By then, Sarah had wrapped up her redo quiz. I snatched it up for a quick scan. It was from a recent lesson Blackwood had covered just days ago. She'd improved a bit, nailing a few more right, but errors still piled high. Taking a deep breath to center myself, I categorized her mistakes into logical groups. Sarah always jotted her work on scratch paper, so I sorted the wrongs by problem type, then by how close her attempts got to correct, starting my lecture with the near misses. You're listening to the Three Little Frogs channel. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I had rock-solid faith in my teaching chops. After all, I was a gold medal tutor in my past life, specializing in exam prep. These standard high school tests? They were no match for me. Guiding Sarah through each problem, breaking it down step by excruciating step, the evening self-study session flew by in a blur. Clearly, she'd soaked up a ton. Her eyes lit up with excitement. Emily, you're a freaking genius at this. I chuckled. You'll get there too, trust me. Sarah flushed with a shy smile. Seeing her so pumped, I dropped the hammer. Let's keep the momentum going at my place tonight. Her expression crumpled visibly. Ah, come on, more studying? In the end, after a barrage of pleading, my folks weren't home. Truth is, their marriage was a total shitshow, constant bickering or icy silences, never once considering how it wrecked me. As a kid, I'd begged them not to split, dragging out the misery until my senior year, when they finally divorced and I spiraled into a pit of depression and self-destruction. But now, I'm grown enough to handle my own shit. Whatever they decide is on them, I'll just focus on nailing my own path. Back home, I rustled up some snacks for Sarah, then pulled out a set of her frequent flubbed math problems from the workbook for her to tackle. Meanwhile, I knocked out my literature and English homework in record time, then dove headfirst into reviewing the textbook to catch up on every lesson I'd zoned out during the past month. Time melted away in that focused haze. When I finally looked up, 2 solid hours had vanished. Sarah handed over her completed problems. I gave them a speedy once-over, nodding with genuine approval. Sarah, killer job. But check this one out. Here's where it went sideways. After wrapping the explanation, I escorted her to the door. Call me the whole way home, okay? In my head. Walking this late is risky as hell. Gotta figure out a safer setup soon. Little did I know, the very next day, that problem solved itself. Following another intense morning of classes, Sarah and I sprinted to the cafeteria like pros. Don't get it twisted, we might have slacked on studies before, but when it came to scoring food, we were unbeatable. If you're not hustling for eats, your brain's got issues. The second the bell rang, we were out the door first, piling our trays high with those glorious steamed ribs. Pure heaven. Mid-feast, scarfing like animals, a soft chuckle broke through. I jerked my head up from the food mountain, cheeks stuffed. Who dares interrupt my chow down? Violators get annihilated. Why the hell was this doofus here again? What fresh hell did he want now? Jake yanked out the chair next to me and plopped down, still laughing. Damn, you're devouring that like a wild beast. Slurping and all. My face clouded over as I snapped back without a shred of politeness. Excuse me, do I know you well enough for this? Jake raised an eyebrow, unfazed. Hey, I rooted for you last time, memory that short? I faked a lightbulb moment. Oh, right, you. Shouldn't you be off chasing your goddess Olivia instead of tailing me? Jake faltered for a second. Seeing his reaction, it clicked. Oh crap, major slip up. At this point in time, his crush wasn't public knowledge yet. It blew up months later in a massive scandal that exposed the school thug's obsessive love for the campus queen. I'd just accidentally poked the bear, spilling his deepest secret. Help, what do I do now? Online SOS, stat. Jake cut through my panic. Cut the nonsense. That's not me. But his face told a different story. 3 parts giddy joy, 3 parts sugary sweetness, 3 parts bashful embarrassment, and 1 lethal part murderous intent. Save me. This time, Sarah jumped in. Emily, check that out over there. In the food line, chaos was brewing, a growing commotion with spectators craning their necks. From our angle, it was prime viewing real estate for the drama. That familiar face, none other than our reigning queen, Olivia Reed. Of course, she's everywhere, like a bad penny. But hold on, this time I had to admit, it wasn't entirely on her. The spark was between one of her minions and some other girl, though Olivia was tangled in it by association. No way was I owning up to misjudging her, though. The argument escalated to full volume, drawing eyes from half the cafeteria. Tough break for that minion. Olivia's duo was a tag team of terror. One domineering bully, the other a sharp-tongued viper. But their opponent? No pushover. She gave as good as she got, turning it into a stalemate standoff. Eavesdropping a bit, I pieced it together. The minion had queued up first, but when Olivia showed, she tried to let her cut in line. Bam! Clash with a feisty girl who wasn't having it, leading to non-stop bickering. Olivia hovered nearby, pulling off this perfectly pitiful, wronged expression that even I, as a fellow girl, felt a twinge of urge to defend her. But, I side-eyed Jake next to me. He was just chowing down on a massive chicken drumstick, totally tuned out from the drama unfolding. What the actual fuck? Rumors painted him as this arrogant thug, hopelessly in love with an unattainable girl, willing to go full psycho, raging, obsessing, even smashing his head against walls for her sake. Total bullshit, apparently. Fine, rumors are crap, but I wasn't ready to drop it yet. Hey, look over there. Yeah, I'll cop to being a bit of a shit stirrer. I just wanted to witness the legendary thug charging in to rescue his queen. Haha, Jake shot me a sideways glance. Look at what? You're practically drooling, wipe your mouth. Ah, I swiped at my lips in panic, only to realize I'd been pranked, no drool. That's Olivia, for crying out loud. Suddenly, it felt like I'd time traveled back to those carefree high school days, messing around with friends without a worry. Even though I'm basically an old hag pushing 40 inside, and Jake and I had zero history, there was this weird sense of familiarity, a comforting vibe I hadn't felt since waking up in this body. Staring at the cocky teenager beside me, I zoned out for a heartbeat. Yo, you in or out on the bet? I snapped back to earth. Bet on what now? Jake furrowed his brow. I literally just said it like 5 times. Jake, alright, fine, good kid. Hey, if there's an advantage to grab, only an idiot passes it up. Hey, gotta admit, Jake's exasperated face was kinda adorable. Okay, spill, what's the bet? On that mess over there. Jake flashed a cocky, self-assured grin. My sharp eyes spotted Alex weaving through the crowd toward them, so I puffed up confidently. I bet Alex swoops in to defend Olivia and her squad. Hey, call me a genius. Jake shook his head. Nah, Olivia pulls the victim card, apologizes herself, then bounces. Bullshit, she's way too arrogant for that. I clammed up mid-sentence. Because right then, the same Olivia who'd been all haughty and superior with me was gently tugging the other girl's sleeve, offering a meek apology. Apologize sooner, and this would have been over ages ago, dummy. It wasn't until Alex grabbed Olivia's hand and they strolled off together that I fully processed. Motherfucker, the so-called untouchable goddess, pure as the driven snow. I'd lost. Watching Jake's victorious smirk, I felt like I'd swallowed a fly dipped in dish soap, nauseating. But, how the hell did he predict that? Sigh, all that, raging for the goddess, going insane, headbanging, crap? Total scam. Once again, the clown in this circus was me. Bitter as hell, I admitted. Fine, you win, I lose. Jake winked playfully. Hey, just conceding to a pro. So, you get one favor from me. He didn't hold back. I hung my head. All right, what's the ask? Jake shook his head. Tutor me, teach me the ropes. My tiny brain exploded with massive question marks. The school thug wants to study? Hold up, that's not even the wild part. Why me of all people? My representative was trash, bottom feeder grades, class sleeper, post-bell party animal. Jake interrupted my self-drag, his eyes narrowing dangerously as his thug aura flared. I specifically want you teaching me. Bet's a bet, loser pays up, Emily. What was I supposed to do? I'm just a helpless little kitten here. And yeah, I'll admit it, his intimidating vibe was kinda hot. The price of my gluttony. Somehow, I ended up agreeing to tutor him, all because his looks sparked some misplaced pity. The whole afternoon ticked by without a peep from Jake.